together as a community, we will grow and we will talk about the emerging technologies, new threats, new trends. And I was looking into, all the aspects of cybersecurity, and we found that then there's a lot many, topics are there. There are lot many solutions are there. There are lot many cybersecurity challenges are there. And when I was looking into three, I thought that, it's like we can actually make a full ABC out of it. Okay, so I have started looking into that, what can be done and what we can do out of it. And we were in talk, and then we thought let's make a dynamic webinar series. Let's define whatever the solution we call it, 2023 required solution for cybersecurity, and let's bring on a good, amazing partner, who can actually deliver this series throughout the year. So we actually happen to meet Ivalue. I'll like to store that what Ivalue is and why we think they are the right partner here. So just to start with, like, Ivalue Infosolutions, a premium technology service and solution aggregator, adopts a consulting approach for enterprise digital transformation around application lifecycle management to address emerging business needs in a hybrid multi-cloud model covering both capex as well as opex. Okay, so they're doing a lot of things in that space, but what we think they are the right partner for this CXO community to deliver ABC. So they have 6,000 plus customer base. They have around 900 plus partners and 65 plus best of breed technology OEMs. 65 solutions and 900 partners that make them huge. So they have actually presence in overall 18 plus location. So with them, we are going to have not many critical solutions, in-depth knowledge, and of course, this forum will provide a lot of peer review, interactive quiz, and a lot of learning throughout the year. Okay, but that's not where we are going to limit. So we have actually designed a ABC of Cybersecurity calendar, which all of you are going to get it today. We have a Kahoot quiz, which are going to get you CyberFrat Gold membership, a learning fun quiz model. The CyberFrat Gold membership have 180 hours of learning, 550 hours of recorded session. We have 1 lakh, worth of cyber insurance, a lot of consulting and cybersecurity sessions. That's the Kahoot thing which we have. But in each session, when we are going in, we are going to give away a OnePlus phone. So like today, after this session, OnePlus phone, then overall 21 session we are going to have. And we are announcing a bumper prize, which is Royal Enfield Meteor, the first time I think in cybersecurity industry a physical big giveaway, which is going to happen. So what you have to just do is attend these sessions, be consistent, minimum 15 you need to attend, and your name will be in the wheel of fortune, right? So that from the giveaways. And if I come I'll talk about solutions, from A, application security, to X, XDR, to Z, zero tech technology, a lot of them has been defined. I think I will ask Ivalue team to take care of that. But just to talk about what we are going to have today. So the session, because it's starts with alphabet A, we wanted to talk on application security, and the core is like, you can't afford to go wrong with application security in 2023, right? So how we are going to do it, right? So to do that, we have got a solution partner, which is Microfocus. So to summarize, so Microfocus is one of the world's largest enterprise software provider, focused on solving the IT dilemma, how to balance today's need with tomorrow's opportunities. They deliver mission critical technologies that helps tens of thousands of customers worldwide manage core IT element of their business. Strengthened by our strategic services and support organization and an extensive partner network, their broad set of technologies for security, IT operations, application delivery, governance, modernization, and analytics provide the innovative solution organization need to run and transform the same time, right? So that is about Microfocus. And to have two speakers who are going to deliver the session with us today. One is Mitish Chitnavis. He's a CTO at Ivalue Infosolutions Pvt Limited, having 25 plus years of experience. And from Microfocus today going to join us is Ashok Kumar, a cybersecurity professional with 70 plus years of experience, who is going to be with us today, right? So I'm excited, and then I'm going to ask a lot of questions to them and to you as well. So I will request now Nagesh Bello to put a perspective and talk about Ivalue. So Nagesh, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, Dan. We from Ivalue, we are extremely excited to be part of this CXO Junction, right? Where we would be demystifying the entire cybersecurity solutions from A to Z, right? I just have a small deck with respect to who we are, Before that, I would like to welcome everyone who are taking their time out and to be part of this particular journey with both CXO Junction and Ivalue. And we wish you a very great Happy New Year. Right, just a second. Gaurav, just let me know if you're able to see the screen. Is my screen visible?
It's coming up. Yes, it's now.
Perfect. So who we are. So we are a private equity backed premium technology solutions and services aggregator, right? Our key focus is on providing right and relevant solutions around application lifecycle management for enterprises and digital native businesses, right? We have key capabilities around services, around cybersecurity and hybrid multi-cloud offerings, right? Just a small snapshot about who we are. We are a 170 million revenue. We've clocked 170 million revenue. We have about 8,000 plus customers. We have about 800 plus system integrators with whom we work on a daily basis. We have 75 plus products whose solutions we cater to in both India and SAARC and Southeast Asian market. We are a cusp of both a distribution as well as system integration. We are backed by 18 private equity investment with $18 million, which happened back in 2019. We are a team size of 250 plus people. We have our operations in about 13 plus locations across India, SAARC, and Southeast Asia. We have 3 training centers in Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. Bangalore being our headquarters. We have 1 COE lab. Talking about our revenue growth, we have year on year, we have clocked 6x revenue with EBITDA of 8x and CAGR of 51%. So that's a small snapshot about what we are. Now, I would, before I call the next presenter, I would like to, since we are just out of Christmas, I would just want to ask 3 questions to all the audience over here, and want to see if I can be a Santa for them. So the catch is, whoever is giving the right answer, they should be switching on their video and answering it. Are we ready for it? Gaurav, can we ensure that we have access for people to switch on their video?
So we have access for people to raise their hands, and once they do, we will actually unmute them.
Perfect. So whoever gives the right answer, they would be winning 5,000 worth of gift voucher. We have 3 questions lined up. The very first one would be, which city is known as air-conditioned city in India?
Okay, Jai is the first one to go. So let me ask Jai
It is not by the current temperature. I'm saying in general.
Bangalore.
Yes, that's right. Good. Congratulations, Mitish. Right. The next question, which city has the highest number of millionaires and billionaires in India? Not Neeraj again.
No, it was Jai, right? Answer.
You should switch on the video and give the answers.
Okay, I'm providing permission to everyone to unmute. And,
That will be a chaos.
Yeah. So who's going? Yeah.
Yes, Balaji.
Okay,
Mumbai.
Balaji.
Mumbai.
Perfect. Congratulations. The last one. Which city is home for prominent civilization and dynasty?
Nalanda.
Nope.
Lucknow.
Is Delhi?
Yes. Who was that?
Kuljit.
Kuljit Hooda. Congratulations.
Good.
Right. Gaurav, I would like you to just ask your team to take a note of all the 3 winners. We will be sending them the gift voucher.
Sure. Thanks, Nagaraj.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I would now want to welcome our charming CTO, Mr. Mitish Chitnavis, to take the session forward. Mitish, over to you.
So, Mitish, actually, if you have joined with Nagesh's name, if you can actually raise your hand, I'll make you co-host. So,
okay. 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I can't see myself. 1 second. Hold on.
Okay, I got you, I think. And give me a second. Okay. Yeah, here you go. You're able to have the permission now to share your screen.
Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen. So basically today, since the topic is of
Are we able to see your, yeah, not the presentation screen. Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
yeah. So basically the topic today is obviously application security, and I just wanted to cover why application security and what are the different types of application security tools. I'm going to throw a lot of jargons at you. Everybody's talking about, WAF, IAST, RASP, DAS, SAST, and so on and so forth, right? So why application security is important? The application security today, I think this is going to be a digital world. And while there's a lot of maturity on cybersecurity products, cybersecurity implementation on the infrastructure side, application side is still the one which can be a weakest link in your entire infrastructure. And proactively managing application security becomes absolutely important. Now, how do we do it? There are various methods, methodologies, tools to use application security, but the type of application security testing that can be done today and that is available in market is SAST. We all know static application security testing. We do dynamic testing on applications that you have. And we have a lot of companies have already, have their own red teams, purple teams to do the application security testing. But when we look at all these four, obviously there is people that are involved, and people are the ones, actually in driving the entire security implementation for all the applications. So at the end of the day, all solutions need people, specifically security people, to have effective application security testing, number one. Number two is that developers, we need to provide them tools, information, and power to find and fix those security issues in the application proactively during the SDLC phase itself. So these are the two most important things, I think, where we can become absolutely proactive in managing security vulnerabilities within the application itself. Moving on to SAST, there are obviously pros and cons on everything, but SAST directly integrates with IDE. It has its own challenges as well, depending on the tools that you use, depending on the language that you use. SAST can be, when we look from a developer point of view, SAST can be absolutely noisy sometimes, but if effectively implemented for the language that the developer is using, for the language that the application is being developed in, then it is absolutely simple to deploy, use. It can scale very easily, and the tool that you decide to implement that should support the languages that are already being used by the developers to develop this application. So, for example, it can be Java, Spring Boot, PHP. But we should, when we decide a tool for the application development, especially for SAST, then it has to support your languages, frameworks, and has to have a low rate of false positives, and so on and so forth. So SAST has its own pros and cons, but effectively, rightly implemented, it will help the developers to identify those bugs and fix those issues proactively before even it goes for development. Dynamic testing or dynamic application security testing, it's absolutely flexible. You can schedule it, you can test it, you can outsource it. Anybody can do it. Any service provider like Ivalue can do red teaming for you and look at all the applications. The advantage of DAST here is over SAST is that it did not understand the application context itself. We build applications for, let's say, BFSI, banking, payments, healthcare, and all of that. In SAST, it is important. SAST does not understand the application context very easily. It just goes by the code and starts giving you issues start giving issues to the developers, and they need to fix it. But when it comes to DAST, we can cover the context. We can have it scheduled. We can have it absolutely tested per the flow of any application, and it can easily scale without any resource constraints as such. RASP works well till the time it is inbuilt within the code. It provides code visibility. It does synthetic monitoring of the code. You can monitor each and every bit of the logic, every bit of the integrations that you have done, and it can start throwing up issues, and that can be configured to block or alert or log the attacks that can be identified. Now, all of these solutions or all of these testing types, when we go to the production level and integrate the logs right from database level to the application level with your SIM, SOAR, and at end of the day, it is important that the application also starts giving those security logs, monitor them, configure them, and identify those issues and raise those alerts which are absolutely necessary. So RASP covers a broad set of vulnerabilities within the application that helps us as the users of the application, the developers of the application, to fix those issues again proactively. Then obviously there's interactive application security testing, easy to deploy, seamless integration with your CI/CD pipeline, with your DevSecOps. If you look at the DevSecOps manifesto, you will find those seven things that are needed. And SAS, DAS, RASP, IAST, everything is covered within the DevSecOps manifesto as such. Now, it is easier to implement, but when we actually look from an implementation standpoint, typically my view has been that first, the customer should go with DAST, look at the testing, invest in DAST very heavily, take all those vulnerabilities that the red teams would find, then move into SAST, because then that goes into the proactive life cycle of managing security vulnerabilities within the SDLC process itself. Then move into RASP and IAST. So there's an investment pattern. I think DAST is the first. We see a lot of our customers first going for DAST, then SAST, then IAST, and then RASP. Okay. So that being said, even if we want to go more proactively, it's important that we do threat modeling on any application. And it is absolutely critical to identify the threats during the architecture itself. When we design an application architecture, we should have the security architects, security teams involved in the development of the application and the application architecture. So why we need it? Because when we start drawing the BRDs, PRDs, the product definition documents, and so on and so forth, at that point itself, we can systematically list all the potential ways one can attack an application. Now, when we list this, why security team is important at that point in time? Because the security team understands the structure, understands, let's say, MITRE ATT&CK framework, the defend framework, understands the APTs that are applicable, that can attack an application, understands the vulnerabilities within the application or within the frameworks that you're going to use, and then recommend the right architecture to develop that particular application. Again, why application threat modeling is obviously it's proactive approach. So before the application goes into development, we are going ahead and have the data flow diagrams. We draw all the structures, architecture, database management, how are we going to write the primary keys, and so on and so forth, and then implement. What this proactive approach helps us is when we do the DAS and the SAS, we don't have to, those teams would not identify a large set of issues. These issues are predefined, pre-identified, fixed it, and that helps us cost on redevelopment process. Because many a times we have seen that when we build the application and we go for DAS kind of testing or red teaming on the application, we get a lot of issues. We go back to the team, we are redeveloping and continuously in that cycle. And that's where threat modeling actually helps us to save cost on redevelopment process, and using the threat modeling model. Simple steps to threat model your application. It's deconstructing the application to small manageable components, identify the architectural risk, conduct a risk analysis, look at source code analysis, do a software composition analysis, and then all of that before even a single line of code is written. Identify those threats. Sometimes those threats may not be applicable to you. Okay. So for example, if you're using Kafka or if you're using PHP 6.5 version, if the CVs are not listed, and for example, APT, if you look at the APT1, if it is not applicable to you under, for your application, you may just want to, ignore those. Not that every security threat has to be mitigated within the application, but also identify what is applicable, what is the attack surface that application, if it is vulnerable, that can build for you. So an attacker getting into your application via any channel can create and if your application is vulnerable, then it can create a larger attack surface within your entire environment. It can be within your entire infrastructure, wherever it is, hybrid cloud, it is in AWS, Azure, or on-prem, doesn't matter, because everything is at the end of the day connected. So your to reduce this attack surface, it is important that we identify all applicable threats and then build the controls, countermeasures. That can be from WAF, implementing a WAF, implementing a DDoS kind of a solution for safeguarding the application so that it doesn't go down, have red teaming implemented, find the vulnerabilities, do penetration testing, and reduce that attack surface and build those controls within the application. And that's, I mean, quick and short, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. It's important that when we go for developing an application, to do threat model and then go into DAS, SAST, IAST, RASP. And that's the summary of my presentation. And this is exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Thank you.
Sure, Mitish. Yeah, Mitish, it is amazing. You have, in the small nutshell, you have actually covered a lot of things on the application side. And also, guys, before I call Ashok and talk about the next segment. So on this screen, you are looking into this amazing blue color logo, right, from Ivalue. So I just first of all want to congratulate Ivalue team for their new identity, and we'd like to show you a small video. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. So.
Optimize, transform, inspire. Ivalue Infosolutions is doing it all with a 360-degree evolution that reinforces the focus to ensure enterprises achieve their business goals. We have triumphed to become the unique player across the globe who can deliver multi-cloud cybersecurity services and solutions with our domain expertise covering top 100 brands across BFSI, ITEs, telecom, manufacturing, and several other industries. But that's not all. Considering that changes have become more rampant in this digital era, every organization's core is reliant on its application and life cycle management, along with its infrastructure covering performance, availability, scalability, and security, as it directly impacts every customer's growth. In fact, a radically different digital world is in formation, where discoveries are becoming more extensive, breakthroughs are creating more breakthroughs, and these changing dynamics in the global landscape demanded a reinvention, a new identity, an identity that reflects Ivalue's digital focus across ALM and PaaS needs of enterprises. An approach that powers digital native businesses in a multi-cloud environment encompassing consulting, services, and solution stack needs. And this 2023, we engineered this remarkable shift with the new and transformed Ivalue, which is all set to replicate learnings of transformed top 100 brands across key verticals. The color blue in our logo is one of the best indicators of trust and partnership, which are the key essentials of any relationship, as we believe that you, our OEM partners and channel partners, have been the backbone of this continued success. In fact, this whole evolution couldn't have been a possibility without your unwavering support throughout the years. Congratulations, everyone. Having said that, let's continue being the pioneers. Let's strengthen our ecosystem. Let's at Ivalue keep creating unmatched value for our customers.
Congratulations, team. Nagesh, Mitish, and all Ivalue team present here. So thank you for a wonderful session in the new brand and having I think this year's first association, I guess, a long-term whole year association with the new logo and new brand. I think we are the first one, Nagesh, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so taking this segment further, taking this application security trends and things, I would like to invite Ashok from Microfocus to take the lead now.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, everyone, for a valuable time. Thanks, Ivalue team, for giving us an opportunity to be part of this session. I think this is an introduction session and honored to be part of the first session. So you can set the benchmarks are there. So without further ado, I just wanted to share and few things that I wanted to take it from Mitish's presentation and then just emphasize on certain points what he talked about. 1 second here. I think that some of the clues that I take from Mitish talking about shift left are probably security is being left out and why is there the need of an AppSec in 2023. That's a topic that we are talking about, right? In security, in application security, there are typically different challenges that we see. And with the digital revolution that is happening in the last few years, thanks to COVID, a lot of organizations are using COVID as a business driver for digital initiatives. And application security are the number of applications that the enterprises are managing over a period of time has almost like doubled, or probably it has increased into a multifold over a period of in the last 5 years, what I have been seeing in the industry and how things have been transforming. So what Mitish mentioned about security being left out and AppSec is one of the opportunities different from other cybersecurity things. A simple example would be like the prominent vulnerability that we try to tackle in application security, which is an SQL injection, is almost like 2 decades old, which means it's been in the industry, like we are still trying to figure out how we can solve a problem of a standard SQL injection. Is there a question? Sorry.
Ashok, can you go in the presentation mode?
Yeah, 1 second.
On the right hand side, the down presentation mode, down side.
I think.
Sorry. If you see the cursor of zoom in and zoom out, the left to that. Yeah. This is the one. Just click on that. Yeah.
This is actually some pop-up is there. 1 second, let me.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen again. Oh, okay. Is it better now? Or sorry, I think it is now.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
Okay, so the application security that we are, I was talking about SQL injection, which is a common vulnerability which we are still struggling. So that's where the next point that I take from Mitish, talking about the importance of people. I follow a three key concept when it comes to application security. It's not a tool which is going to help you out in terms of solving your problems out of the shelf. There's a 3P concept which is called as product, people, and program. If you have a right product, which is going to be an enabler for you to achieve your goals in application security, and with the right approach, program that we talked about, typically Mitish talked about threat modeling. That could be a classic example of having a program. When you're designing an application security program, you should have if it's a new application that you're onboarding, you should definitely have a threat modeling. That is a trend that we see in the market. Application security with threat modeling, we know what are the probable vulnerabilities that you will expect when the application is onboarded into production environment. That is one case. One use case of having a threat modeling and then trying to see what are the quick goals that we are going to achieve over a period of time. The second one, I think there is a question raised, what is that it is an already existing application? Probably you have to do a baseline scan and understand what are those top vulnerabilities. You can't boil the ocean in application security. Like as Mitish mentioned, that could be false positive, that could be noise in the scans that result. You do a baseline scan and then find out what are the top 5 or 10 vulnerabilities. Take a milestone approach, take few vulnerabilities and start creating a program. With right skill set program and a right tool and a right program, you can actually reach the milestone much more earlier. So that's been an approach, and that's been a typical consulting approach that we have followed, and we have seen customers who are actually adopting this policy has been able to become very successful. And on the tools perspective, I think there are 3 major pillars that we wanted to cover. One, SAS, static code analyzer, which is something that Mitish has covered. It gives you all the probable vulnerabilities, which you will be able to exploit in an application and try to fix it as early as possible. It is typically used in your development environment, be it a developer DevOps side. And then that one, typically an application security tester will use it for find out what are the exploits that he can find out in an application once it's been built. So the 2 different differentiators. Our SAS is going to find out all the probabilities, and that is going to help you out with response and request-based vulnerabilities, which are low-hanging vulnerabilities that you can exploit. That could be your baseline scan. What are those top vulnerabilities that can be exploited during a dark scan? The third and the most prominent one today is the software composition analysis. We all believe, or there is a myth that the applications are almost developed by the developers.
Sorry, Ashok, are you sliding? Are you going next from your slides?
No. Okay, that's the next point
enough.
that I'm going to come to. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
The next one is software composition analysis. That's a third-party component, that the open source components the application developers are using to make their life easier, because they don't want to reinvent the wheel. If there is a feature, functionality, or any components that can make their life easier, because they are typically function-driven organization, they want to release a product or a feature much more faster. Having said that, that's the baseline. I think I wanted to take some few points from what Mitish left, and then what we see in the market in the last couple of years, and then what we see as a way forward. Top trends in application security, and what are the things that we foresee in the market. One, DevOps, DevSecOps in nature. With digital revolution coming in, and as I mentioned about number of applications being increased and the number of applications being managed, tested, it's going to stay forever. It's been there. Probably a lot of organizations are moving towards DevOps, and then DevSecOps becoming something that can be unavoidable, and it's going to stay forever. So having a tool or probably a program and process and people, right program, seamlessly integrating with your DevOps tool chain is going to be a very crucial element for you to be very successful, because the number of builds have increased and the frequency of builds have increased. That's going to help in terms of doing a scan, automated scan, and then you can save a lot of time. It also gives you a quick feedback loop to the developers or to the organization so that they can fix it, rather than waiting for a complete build to happen and then you actually push back to the developers. By the time they have to redo everything, that can be solved by DevOps, by having a tool chain integrated with your DevOps integration. Second one, software supply chain. Again, the next buzzword. SolarWinds is a classic example that we would have heard. Log4j has taken up the complete world. The components which are being used in the application, most of the time, with all due respect to the developers, they are not security aware. They try to browse through in GitHub or in other repositories, try to take functionalities which can make their life easier. they don't actually go through what are the implications of using those components. It could be a security risk, or it could be an outdated version which they might be using, and then it could be also a legal risk, copyleft, copyright, and somebody who has put it in that could have also put in some kind of a restriction saying that use of these components, which is also again will impact the organization. Software supply chain is actually going to be the emerging technology or an emerging discussion in application security. The next one, typically, there is no application or no organization without an API. This makes their life easier to communicate within the application with the way that application security or the applications are being designed, be it microservices or be it communicating with multiple elements within the application. APIs makes it easier, but it also gives a threat or opens up a window for the bad actor to gain control over the application and exploit those vulnerabilities much more easier. Application security is the next buzzword in application aspect. And the next one, people are talking about boarding and applications much more faster. They want scalability. They want cloud native. That's why they move to cloud. But also the point is like with this, you will have to incorporate a lot of things that we spoke about, DevSecOps, and also something that we'll speak in the future slides, which you have to do it over a period of time because this is going to be very rapid. Microservices, they develop almost like hundreds of microservices in a day in large banks and stuff like that, which means that you should have a tool which should be careful enough to scan hundreds of bills in a day. Next one, this is something that we heard over the last 2 quarters from the large enterprises, because every tool that we talk about, be SaaS, SEA, and all those stuff, while we have common dashboard, they wanted to have a business level dashboard. So the business level dashboard is going to give what is the risk vulnerability dashboard for a management perspective. Where should I focus? Where is my program going right, wrong, and what is the business risk associated with that? That's where application security and application orchestration and correlation layer is going to come to. This is one level above your AppSec dashboards and tools dashboard. So it's going to correlate all your tools as well as your pen testing vulnerability reports, a combination of multiple reports that you do on the business application and present a business view to them. The next one,
Right.
typically we talked about DAS. I think Mitish, yeah, any questions here? Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you. You're going a little too quick. Can you slow down the pace?
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. And the next one, I think Mitish touched upon DAS as a pen testing or automatic pen testing. Now things are moving in, coming to a DevSecOps world. DAS has been integrated into your CD tool, and every build that has been being pushed to production, it gets scanned, because gone are those days where you do scans for compliance reasons, where it's been done because you have an open window for the vulnerabilities can be exploited by the bad actors. So everything has to be tested as and when it has been created. That's the next generation DAS that we're talking about, integrating with your QA automated testing and CI/CD automation. The next one, we talked about false positives. We talked about human intelligence and how artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to help in terms of evaluating automation. So false positives that we talk about is one classic example. We have tools which actually have to reduce the noise by having comparisons with your global database, by having artificial intelligence built, so that it can help you out in terms of number of days that you spend in terms of reviewing it. This is where I talked about the importance of a tool being an enabler, so that you reduce the time span in terms of spending the amount of time that in reviewing the results, so that you can quickly send the results back to the developer so that they can fix it. A quick feedback loop, right? This is how we are going to achieve it. Next one, to summarize all those points that I talked about and the digital revolution, there has been a challenge in terms of adoption technology. Web application exploit has been in the rise by almost like 32%. API traffic, malicious traffic has gone by 85%. Mobile application with no data point, I think we have been using, every application has been now more to a mobile application. Everything is now code. It's not just the application. Infrastructure is moving towards code. Everything is containerized. Containerization is unavoidable in a large development house. And IoTs and other stuff becoming embedded, and clients and embedded software are becoming involved. Everything is becoming IoT based, and because even industrial is going through an application revolution. So that's where the key takeaway, right? In application security, we used to talk about something called a shift left. Shift left is typically moving the application security closer to the developer, so that he can actually have a quick feedback loop as and when he write the program, run the scan, take the results. Even before he pushes the code to the next level, probably he will be able to remediate. Even if we can reduce the noise by 20-30%, it's a huge saving in terms of the risk as well as the time that the organization is going to go through. But we are moving away from shift left, or probably evolving from shift left to shift everywhere, because we are talking about in IAC, infrastructure as code, talking about DevOps, DevSecOps, and then containerization, which means that you have a need to scan everywhere. So the tool should have the flexibility to have a scan done at every stage, depending upon the program that you design, based upon the skill set that you develop. This is how the market is going to evolve towards shifting everywhere. I think cloud security is one classic example where a simple misconfiguration of a misconfiguration can lead to a huge data lake. So which means that every time when you actually mount an application to a cloud transformation, the scanning of those applications becomes much more compelling reason for them to do a scan. So which means it's just not applications, mobile applications, web applications, APIs. You have to scan each and every place, everywhere, with having a quick feedback loop. That's the trend that I see. What we hear from the market and from the third-party analysts and stuff like that. I wanted to leave it here. If there's any questions, I'm okay to take. Probably we can move on to the fire chat, Saurabh.
Ashok, yes, wonderful. Questions, yes, definitely there are going to be questions, and I think people are going to ask too many. But before that, I have some for you. Okay, so just for the ones who just joined and want to put in the next segment, because we started a bit late and as the inaugural session, we will be taking this session, and I'm leveraging that your time. Please allow me till 12:50. Okay, so we want to have a group photo. I have few discussion points for Mitish and Ashok, which I wanted to discuss, and then we are going to have a group photo. So I will ask all of you to get ready. We need to click this inaugural New Year group photo, right? So after that, we have a Kahoot quiz, and I'm also going to announce that how you all are going to get OnePlus bike and the calendar and everything, right? So Mitish and Ashok, so thanks. It was a wonderful presentation, and I think you have summarized a lot on major challenges which we are looking into application security. And we, after seeing this, I understand that there are two core differentiations we have. One, of course, we have the legacy applications, and now we have cloud native approach where we have containers, serverless, stateless applications and everything. And now when we even do the security, right? So it's different for both legacy applications and cloud native application. And now the approach of doing application security is also changing. I think Mitish has given a different type of application security, like SaaS, DaaS and things. But now, Ashok, you have mentioned something related to the new approach where we are going from shift left to shift everywhere, and then we are putting up a lot of ML and AI and a lot of stuff. So I will like to see the difference, but my question to you will be like, if there is someone having the legacy applications, so the traditional approach of security will not work there. What will be your recommendation and best practices for them? And definitely I will come to the cloud native apps later. Yeah.
Thanks, like this is one thing that we encounter, or probably as a use case that we encounter in most of the organizations, because there's a shift that has happened in the last few years, right? There are traditional applications which have been in use, and then they are trying to modernize. So where is that we are trying to balance it out? See, we normally do a consulting approach. Probably what we do is we try to understand an application asset inventory. That itself is a huge task. Okay, so once we do that, and then we understand there are legacy applications, there are modern applications like cloud native applications. What is the build frequency and what is the need? Probably once you define the need, right, then it makes it easier. These legacy applications, how well are they used? Then we try to put it across saying that, okay, these legacy applications are something we have to scan as part of compliance or as part of the security posture. We'll scan, and we'll design a program saying that, okay, we'll not do a scan every day, probably, or every month or every quarter. We design a program approach saying that that's where the program comes in picture. I spoke about 3 P's, right? Product, people, and program. So you classify those assets, application assets. If it is a legacy application, not going through much of changes, then put a plan saying that is quarterly audit or a quarterly testing is a viable solution. That's ideally a viable solution. And then these cloud native or modern applications, which are in production, are going through multiple change requests, because it's much more easier when you actually run the scans and in the early stage of development, when there is a CR happening, you change it because you are actually making sure that the delta is safe. And then you do a periodic scan. So that this has been our approach, and typically the baseline is going to be that same thing. You do a baseline scan and identify those vulnerabilities. You can't boil the ocean. Again, pick those top 10 vulnerabilities, try to remediate them. This itself is going to take 6 months of your time. By the time you would have had a set process and program defined. So which means that now you can expand your applications and as well as your number of vulnerabilities that you have to approach. So that has been our approach and been a suggestion and recommendation to our customers, which has worked well for us.
Amazing, Ashok. Thanks. And Mitish, you have any add on that? Mitish, you are on mute.
Yeah. So coming to legacy application, I think in a practical sense, it's very difficult to migrate out of a legacy application because it needs budget. It needs a lot of investment to rebuild the application and modernize it in the latest technology. And obviously the years it would take to get it to the level of usage and so on and so forth, right? So what I have seen from after talking to a lot of customers is that they have legacy application. They are protecting it with various tools, security platforms, and so on and so forth. Also, what they've done is they built a security layer, okay, which is a kind of a middleware. And securing with that middleware, they are actually ensuring that what is required as data that goes out from a data flow perspective. But legacy application today, the modernization and the security of that application is still protected by the mature cybersecurity technologies that are available in the market. Top of it is the middleware. So that's how actually it is working as of today. Now, how do we implement security for a legacy application? Legacy applications are absolutely, in some sense, they're robust, but the frameworks are old. There are CVs and so on and so forth, right? Which are exploitable. But the challenge is that we should look at from an adversary point of view. Okay, is the adversary, why are these adversaries trying to attack your system or hack into your system? One is pride, that they love that they can announce that I have hacked into your system. Number two is financial gains. If both of this, you are subjected to both of it, then you need to secure it. But if you are not subjected to any of this, the current maturity of cybersecurity tools can protect you good enough. Just have, as Ashok said, just have a regular audit, scans, and so on and so forth. Implement something which is feasible, and find out whether it is the attack APTs, MITRE attack, all that is really applicable for that particular application, and where it is utilized. I would leave it at that.
Okay, and if I put that perspective, the approach, is it changed when we talk about cloud native? So when we actually have changed the overall parameters, so is it the same approach will not work? Do we need to have, of course, a new one, right? And how the shift is happening? Your perspective, and then Ashok, you can add to that.
So cloud native is a complete different ballgame altogether. Okay, and cloud native, in the sense, we are actually directly integrating also to the services which are provided by the CSPs, cloud service providers.
And of course, I have one added point over there as well with CSPs and third party also. I will love to know those points and discuss.
Yeah. So in cloud, it is a shared security responsibility. That means security responsibility is ours as customers. We have to configure, we have to implement, and implement all the security tools, controls, and so on and so forth. In cloud native, because the maturity of the SDLC process and DevOps and DevSecOps has also moved on from the legacy side of it, it is important that we have inputs to the development team going directly and timely. Why? Because we also have to respect the engineer's time per se, right? When giving the security input to an engineering team, and it goes from security team, right? So there's always the infrastructure team, there's always the engineering team, and there's always the security team. And in the earlier process, the security team was not involved, while implementing, building the application itself, right? So when we now look at it, it's important that we give those timely inputs. We work with the development and the engineering team. With the speed of development, looking at cloud native, customers want to go out in market, business pressures, numbers, all of that. It's important that we are part, as a security team, we are part of the development cycle itself, and that would actually change. Every engineer needs to be trained on the cloud native applications, right? Because it's going to be significant. The data is out, and we need to protect it. It's in the cloud, right? And as Ashok said, misconfigurations are the largest issues today in cloud native. But when we just simply look at a cloud native application, we have been dealing with about cross-site scripting, writing the front-end code, phishing, emails, and so many things. Now there are solutions which are available for cloud native as well, and they are getting more mature. But the responsibility of securing the cloud native application is the security team as well as the engineering team working together.
Exactly, and I think in Ashok's presentation we have seen that how these things, when they are coming, the infrastructure code or MIL, and they all have the vulnerabilities. Again, adds a lot of things which we need to work on. So, Ashok, your perspective, I think, on this.
I think most of them is covered by Mitish. And then one point, right? Like when it comes to a traditional approach where there are multiple stakeholders that we talk about, like as I mentioned, development team, DevOps team, infrastructure team, security team. In a cloud native application, I think that bridge is coming closer. There is no bridge at all. Everything is being taken care of by the DevOps and the dev team. So the shared responsibility of security team has to be given to the DevOps team so that they have the complete control. That's where this last slide that I talked about, right? Shift left to shift everywhere. So the shared responsibility should be passed on to the DevOps team, so that, because it's going to be quick. Because in most of the cloud native applications, it's going to be microservices, completely driven by APIs. You don't have time to do a security testing after once the application is being done. And as rightly pointed out, it's a shared responsibility of the cloud service provider and the client who's actually onboarding those applications, which means you may not have ample amount of time which you used to have in the past to actually run a scan and then find out and pass it on to the developers. So it has to be an approach where completely given to the DevOps team, taking the responsibility and then trying to run the scans or make sure that the number of vulnerabilities can be reduced. It cannot be zero at any point of time, which all we agree. So it can be reduced so that the risk that we pose when the application is in a cloud can be reduced.
Sure, I think amazing. These are the two aspects which I thought from legacy and cloud native. And my last concern or the question will be, because when we are actually taking up the application, right? So most of the time we are relying on the third party vendors or partners, right? So most of the application we do, we need to go for licensing. Sometimes licenses are getting expired. We need to have the support extension, or sometimes the team or issues, every time we find the vulnerabilities, and we have seen that Microsoft SolarWinds or other issues where we actually need to rely on those applications and vendors, and till the time patches are not there, we are just thinking. So what will be the perspective in that case? What are the best practices which we can have where our reliability of security is on third party, and we are in a catch-22 situation where,
Yeah. So simple example, as I told you, right? SQL injection that we talked about. Even in today's modern world, where larger enterprises who are running a scan are seeing SQL injection, which means the window of exploiting a known vulnerability, which can be easily exploitable with a tool which any hacker can get it from a Google, from the search engine. He can actually run a scan. This is the same threat that we see when a third-party vendor or a third-party software developer like Microsoft or anybody, right? There is a patching time that is required. Till the time there is no other go, probably we have to, for example, we have to have some shielding mechanism where these are known threats. Till the time we find out, it could be, it may not be a 0-day also, it could be a known vulnerability that has been exploited. That window of gap is something that we have to shield against through other mechanisms. There is no silver bullet to security, which all of us in the call will agree. So what we have to do is we have to try to see what are the complementing solutions, or what are the ways that we can exploit. Simplest example, that's where we don't actually rely on one single solution within application security portfolio. There is SaaS where we try to find out, and then, but we know not everything can be fixed at the development stage. We do a DAC and then find out what are those top vulnerabilities. Even in that case, we always, that's where the baselining comes in, right? We find out what are the top 2 vulnerabilities or top 5 vulnerabilities, try to fix it, because you as an organization and the application security application owner knows what are those threats that can be exploited easily. So just fix it. We know we will carry a known risk at some point of time. Till the time we have something, we have a working solution, we may have to carry the risk and make sure that we have some other mechanism to shield against those vulnerabilities.
Thank you, Ashok. Mitish, last 40 seconds, 5 seconds for you.
5 seconds. Okay. So
45
seconds. Oh, fantastic. So the first thing is application security risk management that needs to be in place for a third-party applications, whether we take it on SaaS, whether we're implementing on-prem, wherever it is deployed. Okay, it doesn't matter. But when we are taking an application from a third party, that supplier risk management comes into picture. That is the first step. Second step is application security risk management, and looking at how they develop the applications. Once these applications are deployed, then for your purpose and for your instance, then you need to get it tested, okay, from a red teaming, purple teaming standpoint. Number 2 is that once there are controls that you need to dictate as part of the contract to these third-party providers of application, of how the application should function and how the security testing has to happen, and what they can do from a SaaS perspective. Implement SaaS and then have a tested application deployed. Many a times when we do a SaaS application and we want some changes to be done, that those changes are done only for our instance because we want those functionality changes. Now, what their team does in reality is that they would develop the functionality, give it us on their testing, and once that particular piece of code, which is a small change control process, following the change control process, we would directly deploy it on the production environment because we just needed it at a point in time. So we can't do a source code analysis because that's not what they will allow. Typically, the third parties who have developed, they would not allow us to look at the source code. But can we do the testing post deploying in the production? The answer is yes. Can we, part of the contract, can we dictate that they should use a SaaS tool and give us a secure code? The answer is yes. So you are legally protected. You are now managing the application security. The third part, which is very important, is the incident response. Just in case, if that application is vulnerable and is exploited, then what is your incident management process? How are you going to recover out of it?
Yeah.
And that incident management and incident response is going to be critical to safeguard you from all the 360-degree perspective from a third-party application. So Gaurav, that's my take on it.
Amazing, I think, Mitish. So I have been a bit easy on you guys. I think the audience will not. Let me open the forum for everyone now to ask you the question, and let's grill it more or something. So guys, I'm providing you all the permission to start your videos and unmute yourself. So I will request all of you to open up the cameras. We are going to click a group photo now, okay? And what will happen by the time you are clicking on your cameras, right? So the team will be putting in a feedback link where, because you have joined this session today, what we will be doing is sending you an ABC of cybersecurity calendar. where we have defined, from A to Z, all the technologies which we are going to cover, right? So my request, or we are going to have a small competition here as well, Nagesh, I will see you, so we can run that now. I think when we are actually defining A to Z, right, there are two letters. One is J and one is Y, okay? We have not defined any technologies yet.